Alrighty, so with this update, we are getting a lot of extra, just like really decent pieces of gear and stuff like that. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. If you are unaware, in the jumping box event that we are doing right now, you're basically getting these little tickets right here, and with the rewards themselves, throughout this little thing, you're going to be getting these little chests. Some of them are going to be rare gear, some of them are going to be, I think later on, either SR gear, which is really nice. And then I just finished up getting the three pieces right here, which are actually double drops, so it's two of each ticket. But these are SSR pieces. They're not the greatest in the world. I thought that these were going to be on par with the other pieces as well, but they really couldn't do that, I guess. They're literally selling a full HP defense gear set in the shop right now that's like completely maxed out, I want to say. For like $80 or something like that. I can't remember exactly where it's at, but yeah, they have it's right here at the bottom if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this right here. They're basically selling a completely like max base stat, max substat roll gear set for like $80, and you do get the materials to engrave it as well. So I guess it makes sense that they wouldn't want to just give that out for free. But either way, those little boxes and stuff that you're going to be getting are very, very, very useful because you can actually use those for box CC. Box CC is one of the biggest sort of like late game hurdles that you run into, where you just want to constantly be working on your box. This festival, with those little tickets and just me doing a little bit of extra pushing, I was able to get the 12 million box CC buff, which is actually super, super nice because this is giving me 15% extra HP on characters, which is just insane for CC in general, because that's just giving me so much extra CC. I'm going to be able to hopefully, I guess, out CC people in PvP, or just meet the requirement for a lot of content a lot easier, so that way I can go first in a lot more scenarios. After you reach 12 million, it doesn't really scale on HP anymore. It's just going to start scaling on defense more, and then at, what is it, a little bit further down here, at 13 million, it starts to give you attack as well. So CC is a pretty important part with the new game mode that we have. CC is a big factor on whether or not you're actually going to be able to compete in the top brackets or not. So I highly recommend that you use these tickets on, or well, the boxes are just going to give you a full set of gear regardless. I can kind of show you who I sort of threw like a couple of sets on. If I'm not mistaken, I think Terry has one of them, just because Terry's a character that I actually don't have gear for in general. Like, I've not built a UR gear set for him, which I'd like to at some point, but gonna have to wait until I don't have more pressing gear sets to make, I guess. But you can see that just having this gear set on him is just giving me extra CC. He's at 55,000 CC right now, and if I take the gear off of him completely, it actually brings him all the way down to 34,000. So that's quite a big boost in general that I'm just getting because I have this gear on a character that normally doesn't have his own dedicated UR gear set. Mainly the later ends of, working on your box and stuff like that kind of equates to you just using the gear gacha system to sort of roll gear. Most of the time, what I end up doing is just setting it to where it doesn't salvage anything, taking any sort of rare gear that you can. I'm sure a lot of these characters probably have like random rare gears and stuff like that, or well, these are technically SSR, but this is a good example. I don't even have the substats on these rolled at all, which is something that I'm sort of working on as I just find the time to. I don't find it to be like a super pressing matter at the moment, but a lot of these characters don't even have substat rolls or whatever. But if you have just an HP defense set on these characters, whether it's rare gear, I mean, I guess you could go common or uncommon. I probably would recommend gear rare, just because at that point, the step up to SR makes it to where you have to re-roll with either anvils or diamonds, which you don't want to do. But with rare gear, you can actually enhance it, and then you can change the substat on it with just gold, which is really, really helpful because gold is pretty easy to farm out. You don't have to worry about doing anything too crazy to get it. I think while I was working on the box, I made it all the way to these Lizhawks, if I'm not mistaken. So what I was doing is just working on just making sure that I have all of these rolls unlocked. I set it to 2%, which you could set it to just HP in general whenever you're doing your re-rolls, and then just do whatever you want to do. I set it to 2% because it's rare gear. I didn't think it was going to be that pressing of a matter, and then I just let it re-roll with gold, so that way it's giving me actual decent little substats and just adding more CC to my characters overall. I have made it obviously down to Goddess Elizabeth right here, which is quite a few characters to go through. It's obviously not the most, and I still have a lot of characters to go through. through, but luckily down here at the bottom of my box, a lot of these characters actually have full UR gear sets and stuff that I don't have to make, you know, a new just like scrap piece of gear set for or whatever. But those boxes and stuff in general, just very, very nice. Last year, they actually didn't give us full gear sets. They gave us just tickets. So, for example, if I go to Hawk here and I look at his gear, what's hidden behind my camera? Let me move my camera over here really quickly so you can see. These are the ones that you're kind of looking at. These are the SSR ones that they gave us. These are the ones that are actually going to be 2% substat rolls. So what I'm going to make sure that I do with these is make sure that I grab HP like bottom set pieces, just because these are the ones that are going to have actual HP substat rolls on them. So for example, I can grab a belt, and then I can change it over on him, and then I can grab a rune as well, and then throw that on him, and that's just going to give him the most bang for my buck, I guess, as far as like trying to go for pure HP goes. So you can see once we inspect these gears that they're solid 2% across the board. I think that the base stat is actually random. I'm not 100% sure if it's guaranteed to be like a higher substat or like a higher base stat roll. You can see it's definitely not maxed out, so I might have just got lucky on these pieces right here. I guess we can test that out again, just to sort of like, I don't know, do a little bit of extra research here, but we'll go ahead and put both of these pieces on as HP, change those out. What's the substat or base stat looking like? Okay, it's actually not looking too bad. Is that the same? 94? It's not the exact same. I still can't tell if I'm just getting lucky on those or not. But yeah, these aren't great. Obviously, I guess if you really wanted to, you could maybe throw some hammers on them. I don't necessarily know that I would really recommend doing that, because it's going to take you a lot of hammers to get all of these up. Normally, when I reroll gear sets and stuff, I try to shoot for the 2.5% mark. So that way I'm like pretty much on the later half. Like my bar is almost 75% of the way full on here, and it's only going to take me a couple of hammer, rolls, I guess, to try to max out the substat roll itself. So just kind of want to give you guys a heads up. Try to work on your box a little bit while you can. These are just really nice opportunities to sort of just throw those gear on anybody who doesn't have a gear set in your box. You know, obviously, if you're a newer player or you haven't really started on the like the really insane box CC grind, now is a really great time to sort of just not necessarily like work on it yourself, but just getting a little bit of a leg up on it by throwing these gear sets on characters that you're never going to use. Because honestly, like, even though it's a really nice SR gear set with full maxed out rolls, the odds of you actually using that compared to maxing out, you know, an SSR gear set and engraving it into UR, it's not great. Like, you would much rather have the UR gear set over. You could engrave this into an SSR gear set and you'd still be missing out on some decent stats there. So just kind of throw these on characters, get a little bit of extra CC while you can. Obviously, you can see that it helped quite a bit. And yeah, obviously, if you do that to your entire box, which obviously they're not giving you enough to do that many characters. I think it was, what, 6 different boxes? Some of them were rare, some of them were SR. And then you're getting enough for, I guess, 6 total pieces of the bottom 2 gear if you're going for that route, which I definitely recommend. I don't really think it's worth going for like just an entire SSR gear set with these. I highly recommend you do just the bottom pieces if possible, because that's just going to give you a little bit more, you know, value, I think, out of these, instead of going for just a, you know, the defense pieces are going to give you very minimal CC. The attack pieces do give decent CC, but overall the HP stat is what matters the most. So just throwing those on some characters that don't have great set pieces, and then for me specifically, I'll have to start going through and actually leveling up these bottom pieces on my rare stuff and giving them halfway decent rolls. If not, I'll start making actual gear sets for some of these characters later on down the line. But yeah, it's just kind of a huge grind. Unfortunately, that's kind of how the late game ends up working out on this game. But it's honestly, you know, if you're not just focusing on it a whole like ton at one time, it doesn't really feel like that, you know, crazy of a like task, I guess. I was about 100,000 CC away from 12 million at the beginning of this festival after I got my bond powered up and everything. So just using Gear Gacha to grab some redstones and stuff like that, so that way I can actually level up all of these bottom pieces to like the max level, you know, by doing enhance, and then I just have to put it on 5. I had to I had to use Gear Gacha to get 6 or the 3-star stones, because I actually don't hold on to those anymore, because I normally don't work with rare. I actually don't work with any gear under SSR at this point, just because I'm so late game, I guess. But yeah, just being able to sort of work on that stuff. It took me, I would say, about 100 million golds worth of Gear Gacha and like upgrading gear costs and stuff like that to reach or to cover about 100,000 box CC worth of a jump there to get me to this milestone. So really good time. Just grab a couple of extra, you know, characters, some gear, so that way you can get a little bit of extra box CC. That's pretty much all I wanted to go over. If you have any thoughts or opinions or extra, you know, information that you want to add, feel free to leave it down in the comments. Maybe I'll learn something, because obviously, like, I'm not a guru. I don't know everything about this game. You guys are really helpful with that kind of stuff too. You guys are always great at, you know, relaying extra information to me also. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully it was helpful. Don't, you know, just let those boxes just sit in your inventory, because it's honestly kind of a nice little boost there. So yeah, I will see you guys later. As of the time of this coming out, I should be up a little bit later. I sleep a little bit later in the day, so I will be doing JP patch notes soon-ish after this video comes out, and by that I mean probably like 4 to 5 hours. So either way, I will see you guys later on. Goodbye. Feel free to subscribe. All that good stuff. Goodbye.